I'm Brenda. I'm a volunteer with Nielsen Park Creative Center.
My name's Amin and I'm a volunteer.
My name is Denise Bebenek and I'm a volunteer with Megan's Hug.
My name is Caitlin and I'm a volunteer with Community Connect Toronto.
My name is Eric and I'm a volunteer at the Redwood. I have been volunteering with the Redwood since I moved to Toronto 3 years ago. So I actually started off in the children's program, and that's the primary program I work with. Over the past sort of year and a half with the pandemic, the children program wasn't able to run because we can't get together in the room together. So I started doing the tutoring a little bit more.
In general, for my whole life, I remember being a brownie and doing volunteer work, and I was part of a club in high school where we did a huge food drive, and I've always kind of liked to find ways to help out. I found out about Community Connect Toronto and they were looking for volunteers, and it was in the lockdown last year and I couldn't work and I had a vehicle and they were looking for drivers to deliver food to people, and I had the time, I had the resources, so I said, sure, let's do it. And I connected with Ali, and then I started volunteering with her right away.
Volunteering gave me a sense of connection, self-satisfaction, and empowerment. One of our programs is weekly meetings when younger and older generation gathers. Building connection is important because people, they can learn from each other, they can transfer their knowledge and experience.
I think one important thing to note is because the Redwood is a women's and children's abuse shelter, there is very little male influences here. Particularly at the Redwood, I just thought it was really important to have sort of just a male mentorship, because a lot of time they're fleeing from other male influences as well.
First time that I volunteered in Toronto, I volunteered at a women's shelter. And it was at a time when laws for women were really changing. Women were still often being, abused domestically. And I helped put the policies and the procedures into place and to update the organization so that it was a safe place for women and their kids. And it really meant a lot to me to be able to do that.
I was a teacher, as I say, for many years before I had 3 children. Our youngest daughter, when she was 4 years old, was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor. Sadly, we lost her at 5, and I didn't realize the seriousness of brain tumors in children, that it was the #1 cause of cancer-related death in children and adolescents up to the age of 20. So I knew something needed to be done to get this statistic under control. Our community embraced us, speaking of volunteers. We had people from all walks of life holding us up during a very difficult time, and I realized that power of compassion and the power of love and hope. And I knew that when any child suffers, the greatest gift that we can give them is a hug. So when Meg passed, I kept having this vision of hugging the hospital that had treated her, and I went after this dream.
When I see a group of people that come to Nielsen Park and are enjoying their situation and chatting and talking and moving about and getting to know one another, it energizes me terrifically. It just makes me feel so good. The city needs volunteers because it needs passionate people to drive important issues.
Before the pandemic, I would go to the St. Mike Hospital 1 day a week for maybe 1 or 2 hours, and I would visit the stroke survivor. And sometimes, as soon as I entered the room, I said, look at me, I had a stroke and I can talk, I can walk. Sometimes they laughing, sometimes they crying, but always they're happy. Even the person who cries, they crying because they see that somebody like them who has been in the same situation, in the same shoe, they can function now, and they get happy, and it has been after the show. Of course, this is one of the most important volunteering that I really loved it.
I guess because I was an only child and I always felt like an outsider, community means so much to me.
You know, a lot of times, like as a young sort of professional in Toronto, you know, you could get really into the zone with, oh, you want to, you know, get the next promotion, you want to climb the corporate ladder, whatever, things like that. But sometimes it loses meaning in some sense, and you know, just being able to volunteer and seeing the world and seeing that sense of community really helped giving me meaning in my life, and actually shaped how I approach my career when I was younger.
And I just think about all the women that are in desperate situations that don't know how they're going to get out of them. But by volunteering, I'm able to do something that's going to help them, to support them, and help them find their new family and their new space.
Volunteering, I think, has done for me, giving me meaning on life, which is a little bit grandiose, I don't know.
Volunteering with Community Connect Toronto has been so rewarding for me. It gave me a reason to get out of the house during the pandemic. Yeah, it just feels really good to give back. I honestly feel like I get more out of it than our clients do sometimes, because it's just really fulfilling to be able to help people.
People who are volunteering, it means that they are really, really love what they're doing. And so it means that they're putting their best in what they're doing, and of course they make the best results.
While we're on this earth, one of the most incredible things we can do is to give of our time and our hearts and our minds to make this world a better place.
Actually, I think most of the problems we have in the world can probably be solved by that.
There is a huge disparity between high-income and low-income communities. There's a lot of people who need help. There's not enough resources.
You have to think, what is the end result? You should not think about this financially. You should think about the effect that you can have on your society.
You can't pay for that. You can't pay workers to be passionate. Workers who come to work to do a job. But volunteers, if they are volunteering for something that they care about, there's no limits to what they'll do.
Together, we're stronger. And that's the whole premise of our hug, is that each person in that circle comes with their gifts to offer to those that are less fortunate. And I think our world indeed would be a better place if all of us stood together and offered our time and our gifts to those that suffer.